Republican presidential candidate Senator Rand Paul is joining us now live from Capitol Hill. I know he's a potential rival of yours for the Republican presidential nomination. Senator, what's your reaction to what the former Florida governor, potential Republican presidential candidate, had to say about his brother, the war, and what he would have done knowing what he knows now?
You know, I think it's a really important question, and I don't think it's just hypothetical, because we seem to have a recurring question in the Middle East, whether or not it's a good idea to topple secular strongmen or secular dictators, and what happens after that. You know, Hillary Clinton's war in Libya was the same kind of scenario. We toppled Gaddafi, a secular dictator, but we got chaos and the rise of radical Islam, and I think we're more threatened now. But I think the same was true of Saddam Hussein. I think Iran is now stronger and emboldened. In many ways, Iraq is sort of a vassal state to Iran. We worry about Iran getting a nuclear weapon. So I think we're a lot worse off with Hussein gone. There's a civil war going on there. We were also making a mistake, I think, to try to degrade Assad, because as we degraded the strongman Assad, ISIS grew. So I think there's a consistent theme here that every candidate should be asked, and that is it a good idea to go into the Middle East, topple governments, and hope that something better rises out of the chaos? Because recent history seems to show that, you know what, we're not getting something better, we're getting something worse.
I guess the point that Jeb Bush was trying to make, you're president of the United States in 2003, the vice president, the defense secretary, the CIA director, the secretary of state, they all come to you and they say, Mr. President, our intelligence shows us that Iraq has stockpiles of weapons of mass destruction. Remember, this is not that long after 9/11. What do you do in a situation like this? You're president, you want to be president, and your intelligence community gives you a dire assessment like that. Now, we know now it was wrong, but at the time, the president presumably believed that intelligence assessment.
Well, the thing is we could also say the same for Assad. Until about 2 years ago, he had stockpiles of chemical weapons. The question is their ability to use the weapons, their proclivity to use the weapons, and also what comes after. You know, people have to ask this question. The first George Bush, you know, Jeb Bush's dad thought it would probably be a mistake. Dick Cheney thought it would be a mistake ultimately or originally to topple Hussein, that chaos would ensue afterwards. And sure enough, it still did happen. After Hussein was gone, the country's chaotic. It's more aligned with Iran. Iran is more of a threat. So, no, I think even at the time invading Iraq was a mistake, and I thought the war, even at the time, was a mistake given the intelligence. But now I think that people should learn their lesson after the war in Libya. Everybody needs to be asked, all the Republicans should be asked, did you and do you support Hillary's war in Libya? And so I think as these questions get asked, we really get to the answer of who Republicans want to lead the country, who do Americans want to lead the country? Someone who will perpetually get us involved in foreign war over there when the result is not to America's best interest, or someone who will be more reluctant? And I think that'll be one of our big debates over the next year.
It certainly will be, because as you know,